All right, welcome back to the Boundaries and Brotherhood and Carrie Pullaro, Gordon and Carrie Pullaro show. I'm your host, Gordon Wat, and Carrie's can't be on TikTok right now because she's in a black hole at her mother-in-law's house. But we just wanted you can hear her. I want to make you sure you can hear her so you can understand the conversation where we're going to be going on today. While I get set up as normal, guys, I'll let Carrie take it away, explain what the topic is, what we're going to be going over. Because last week we didn't have nothing on. She had construction at our house. But this week we're going to hit a doozy. I'll let her do the introductions. I'll get it all set up as we normally do. And we'll do the reintros again. Cool. Go for it.
Awesome. Thanks, Gordon. I'm Carrie Pullaro. I am a relationship and identity coach. I help high achieving women stop chasing love and start choosing the relationship with themselves. The topic that I really wanted to pick today, because it came up in conversations with clients, was love versus infatuation when it comes to relationships. I wanted to get a male's perspective. For me, infatuation is like the rush, right? It's the butterflies, it's the fireworks, it's the, oh my God, I can't stop thinking about them. It's
Okay.
intoxicating. And it's unstable.
Let's start with how did this topic come about?
Clients speaking to me about the infatuation versus love and how they believe that in the infatuation, the butterflies, the fireworks, like that.
The butterflies part
the
of chemistry.
fireworks. Yeah, like all of this is chemistry.
Interesting.
And for me, I think about it logically. I'm like, well, it's new, right? You're dating someone. It's new. Of course, you're excited to get to know somebody new, right? It's firing off all kinds of different hormones in your body. And it's important to know that the spikes of the really high butterflies, and I can't stop thinking about him, and then dropping back down to the, oh my God, well, if he didn't text me today, how am I going to feel? The highs and lows, that's not sustainable and it's unstable. So
Okay.
my definition of love is very grounded and understanding that I'm not going to be in those high highs and have the fireworks all the time, that sometimes it might be pretty damn boring.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where I'm going with it. And this is the interesting part. This is why I wanted to talk to you about it, is I have had conversations with my dad and he said, well, why can't love be all of it? And I was like, no.
But that also comes down to perception also
It does.
and perceived value, right?
And I thought it was really an interesting perspective from him where he was like, why can't love be all of it? And for me, I believe love is a choice.
Okay, but you put in a lot of work for yourself, and I've put in a lot of work on myself. So it could go both ways, right?
It absolutely can. I'm not saying his perspective is wrong by any means. I just thought it was a very interesting topic, how his perspective was so different than mine, because I associate infatuation with addiction. Because I can be addicted.
I was about to say that because it's almost similar.
It's very similar.
Yeah.
So I associate infatuation with addiction. I've been addicted to men. I totally get it.
Right,
You're
okay,
like, oh
okay.
my God, like they're my fix. And that doesn't work. It's a complete fantasy, a projection, and it is not the reality of the person who's in front of me.
Okay, now let's take this step back, right? Infatuation could be a delicate thing, like you said, with addiction, with wanting and seeing everything, like almost where the balance were, versus love at this stage in our life. Because if you have young love, adult love, relationship love as well, even for our family, right?
Yeah.
Love is sacrifice, right? If you're in your 20s or you see these modern men and all these dating and stuff like that, you might be infatuated with the looks or the physicality, but what are you willing to sacrifice for that person? Because infatuation to me is, okay, you might be simping because you infatuate. Say I'm infatuated with this woman. She might have everything that she wants, everything that she has physically, but then she turns out to be a train wreck. And I was in the industry. So it's like you could have all these traumatized women banging bodies, banging everything, but you're a train wreck. So now the infatuation level goes down a notch, and now you have more problems with that. Because the difference between, from a man's point of view, and it all depends on what phase you're in life, right? Because that determines a lot. Now, you could be infatuated, like say, you could be infatuated with what he does, what he provides for you, what he brings to you, because that's a different infatuation level because of the work you put in for yourself. Where love is like, okay, what am I sacrificing? What is he sacrificing? Where's the give and take, right? Versus falling in love. And that falling in love part with the infatuation kind of like is a really squishy, slippery thing, right? Because now you look at older, more wiser, been through the ringer, been to prison, got over drugs, did everything, have a family, had held on to the second chance that I have. What is love is actually holding on. Oh, I'll give you this one. Love is actually when you know you can have an argument, knowing that she can't go nowhere. Because like it's our friendship, like our friendship, right? We can talk freely because I don't want nothing from you but friendship. It's a different type of love also versus say maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you might have been infatuated with you because of how you were in the industry and everything else and all this stuff, which is not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just we've been through that phase. What is your take? Because what did you tell your client?
My perspective, I simply asked her some questions because, again, it is perspective. But love, for me, it's steady, secure. It's someone who shows up for you again and again.
Secure.
Love doesn't, and I want to clarify this. I'm responsible for feeling secure within myself. And when I do, then I feel confident with my decision on who I chose to love. And that's how security shows
Because you
up,
choose to love. Yes.
And love doesn't need chaos. And it doesn't need like the guessing games, like the things that would keep you all over the place, be overthinking or waiting for the crumbs, right? Like just to keep you hooked. Infatuation keeps you in this loop of forming. Oh my God. And, I think for me, infatuation keeps you in the loop of performing, proving, chasing, and love invites you into safety. It invites you into surrender, into being fully seen, and to being fully chosen.
Okay.
And
how does old Carrie, 25-year-old Carrie, rank infatuation versus being in love with the relationship or the person versus now with Abel?
oh man, I think 25-year-old me thought someone choosing me meant I was enough.
Where would you put it on a scale?
What do you mean on a scale?
Like, would that be on a higher scale being infatuated with or putting up your guards because of love?
That would be infatuation.
Okay.
I was tying someone choosing me and to me meaning that I was enough.
Mhm.
So performing, trying to prove that I was enough would guarantee that I wouldn't be left. And if he gave me attention, I should be grateful because what if I never found it again?
Ooh,
So do you see, like for me back then, infatuation and love I was associating them the same. Today I can look at it and say, okay, that was clearly infatuation. But I thought love was intensity, drama, chasing, but that was just the infatuation. It was the validation. It was the survival mode.
It was the games that you associated love with, but it kind of like mixed with infatuation. Because even like when I used to put girls in front of the camera, when I used to put girls in the club, my thing was to have these women make men infatuated with them. But the rule was you cannot make them fall in love because you also fall in love because of the money. Say you had a millionaire throwing money at you, or you want to buy you a car, and they want to simp out and fly you to Japan and all this other kind of good stuff, right? So this is like, that's the 20, 30-year-old me. telling you that.
But I'm curious, like, do you think that's really love? Like the fear of, oh, well, the girl might fall in love with them, or do you think that it's the attachment? Is it love or attachment?
It's the attachment. It's definitely the attachment. And especially in the modern dating scene, when you see all these wrecks happening, even if it's some of the people that I know that just, it has changed. It has changed so much because everything is about give me, want. Greedy, 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 take. But then they took out the essence because they don't think it exists, right? Even for you, it took a long time to find that space. How much work you had to put. In fact, we're going to put you on the spot. Tell some of the audience members what gives you the clarity that you have from the person you was before with this subject. Because you picked it. And I love it.
Was recognizing that I was addicted to the highs of the relationship. And I thought that it was a push and pull. My past relationships were like very push and pull. They were very intense. And so I confused intensity with love. And that intensity, and it does not equal love at all. Love is consistency, safety, being celebrated. It's calmness. It's depth. Yes, absolutely. But so I would confuse intensity with intimacy.
Let's talk about that's vicious. Intensity versus intimacy. Now, does it always have to be physical? Not necessarily.
I was like, oh my God, this is love. This is what love must be.
That's different.
Intensity feels like a chase, right? It's like it's an obsession. It's butterflies and anxiety.
Two ways.
Right. It's like super high highs and super low lows.
Super low.
It's just like addiction. Like it keeps you hooked. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to, he's my everything. That kind of thinking, it's addictive because your nervous system mistakes the chaos for chemistry, but the intensity isn't sustainable because it just keeps you in that constant energy of, I got to perform, I got to prove, I got to hold on tight.
Like having that first high again, right? It's having that first hit. You mean? It's like, you see you chasing it, even like, oh, that's a pretty good, because if you're comparing intensity for the love versus an addiction point, that's a really deep subject because you're comparing something that's just totally out of this world, out of the box. But for somebody that's been in that life, it kind of like makes sense because it makes sense to me. And it might not make sense for a lot of people because so let me ask you this, because this is a pretty good topic. How does the intensity measure up to, say, an addictive personality in the relationships?
What do you mean measure up?
Okay, so you have intensity for the relationship because there are certain expectations in your relationship. Love is somewhere in there because you're making sacrifices. You're doing this for Abel. I'm doing it for Andrea. Andrea's doing it for me, this and that, right? Where does it get intense? Where it's like, sometimes you can't do it. Or sometimes it's like not enough. Or measuring it to expectations.
I think, especially when you're in addiction, when you're craving the guys who bring... You're craving that person, right?
Right.
On again, off again vibes. The ones that keep you guessing. Because it works like addiction.
Okay.
An addictive personality isn't just about substances. It's about like chasing the high. So the intensity in relationships creates the same roller coaster. It's the dopamine spike when he kicks you back, right? Like the withdrawal when he pulls away from you. And then there's the obsessive thoughts when you're waiting for his attention. And then there's that fix when he finally gives you the validation that you're looking for, right? Like he finally sends the text, he finally calls you, and your nervous system gets adjusted to that cycle, and you'll just continue to crave the next hit, even though you know it's not going to satisfy you.
Correct. But then you mistake that in your head as a woman, though, as a young female woman. Do you misrepresent that and love?
Oh, I absolutely did.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, I absolutely did. Yeah, the intensity would just keep me hooked on the chaos. And I kept thinking the chaos was love. And then remember, that's reinforced with all the years that, you know, watching soap operas when I was younger. Do you know what I mean? Like all of these in movies, like unhealthy, and I don't want to say they're unhealthy, all of these different versions,
Learning.
how love was presented. And so I keep chasing that idea of,
Okay.
and it's unrealistic.
Like your dad said, why can't love be it all? See, you
I'm-
see from a guy's
I
point of
know.
view,
And I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong. I know for
there is
me,
no right or wrong.
there is no right or wrong. And it could be very well for him. And
Right.
then my question would be, okay, so whenever you're in that intensity in a relationship, how many of those relationships lasted for you?
Well,
That would be my question.
my question to me is like the intensity. Ask me that again. The intensity level of the relationships I had, how much did they last?
Yeah. So if it's all love, when you're feeling that intensity, that high, the crashing lows, like, did those relationships last? Okay.
Because it wouldn't last because it was always, in fact, me and Andrea had a similar conversation about this, right? I always had the power, the money, the respect, and everything else. I was in control. Whether if I was bringing out 3 porn stars because I had the dope. Whether I had all these other things going on because I was the man. I was putting them in the clubs. I was putting in the strip clubs. I was putting in front of the camera. I was putting in the massage parlor, right? The relationships would last because I wouldn't want it to last because it was all fake, physical, salesy, performing, and vice versa, right? Because you got to think, I was a young buck entrepreneur. The person you see there, you know the type, right? You're trying to get you understand that. Okay, I have that ego. I have everything else that nothing could stop me. Whatever, right? Was it real? No, because it's all temporary compared to the older me now. When you look back at the errors of your ways, will it last? Can it last? Do relationships and real love can come out of it? But it's all based on a lie regardless. Because it didn't suffice in the beginning as a foundation, right? The intimacy might have been just say physical, infatuated, lust, all that good stuff. I don't think so. Because it was more of a take. It was more beneficial for each other. I had the money. I was using you for something else. I was doing this for other reasons. And you just go through the motions. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's like infatuation is kind of like I'm falling in love with a potential in a way. Like, and it's not real.
It's potential.
Yeah. And I'm projecting who I want them to be, which is not real, instead of seeing who they really are. Right. So it's like I'm gaslighting myself. I'm not paying attention. I don't want to see who they really are. I don't want to see it for what it really is. And infatuation really thrives on that fantasy and then that intensity and then the performing. Yeah. And you become addicted to the what if more than the what is.
Oh, that's deep. Because the what if is going to be more. I mean, then again, too, that's a young person's game, right? The what if instead of the what is versus now it's the what is more important than the what if.
Like, I don't have the energy for that anymore. And the infatuation, when I was younger, it felt magnetic, right? Like it felt magnetic at first. It felt like, you feel that energy in your body, all your hormones are going, but like the foundation is just shaky because you can't build anything on a lie.
Yeah. And everything, I mean, when you're performing for the person you're trying to impress, it's like it's back to performing again. Versus it's like having a high school drama game that you're playing again over and yet the only thing changed was that phase in life or the age that you experienced or didn't experience versus to what you have now. Because when you look at, man, that this is so controversial, right? We're just talking all kind of shit today. I love it, right? It's a great controversial because most women nowadays, what I see on YouTube, and it even happened to some of the people I know, it's like, okay, the female would grab the guy, this and that, change everything about his being when I know it's not going to last 5, 10 years from, I mean, not even 3, 5 years from now, because it's all performance. Now, from a female's point of view, how does that work? Explain that to the guys out here, or explain. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer, right?
You mean explain how I believe love really works?
How does love trump the performance?
Oh, because love's not about illusions. It's about intimacy. It's being seen. It's being appreciated for who you actually are and not the mask that you wear.
Mask.
Yeah. Because we all wear a mask, and that's just the truth. Like, love is calm and consistent. It's real. And it does not include that chaos of like the chasing and the proving. And I believe a woman who's truly in love knows that she's the prize. And she also knows she's secure enough to know that the people she's including in her space are people, men, who will see her as the prize without her having to prove it, period.
Okay, back to this question now. How do you get women to believe in that? What you just said. Because for some women, it's like, okay, other people might say that they're prized, but they don't have the confidence, the self-preservation to understand it. I know this is what you teach your clients, because when you have that certain confidence and you know that you're the prize, you're okay with your own self, you don't have the ego, you want to share with other people, and you have that little close circle, no matter what it is, how do you that person believe, or do you just let them run amok and figure it out yourselves and you pick the pieces back up?
When a woman comes into my space, she's already trying to pick the pieces up, right?
Okay.
She's believed that love is kind of the paycheck for her performance, right? She has believed that in the past, realizes that's not true.
Misguided?
Her interpretation of love is not working for her. If they truly believe that the performance, like the paycheck, the body, the accomplishments, if I do enough, if I achieve more, or I prove enough, then I'll be loved. They realize at this point that's not working for them. They're exhausted. They've probably been in and out of relationships. They realize that whatever they're doing currently is not working. And so this is something that gets to be attacked from a different perspective. How it's really showing them that they get to have awareness of their old patterns. Like, show her how the performing, the chasing has been her default, how it no longer works. And then let's come back to the patterns. Let's look at what she sees as the cost of never shifting that behavior. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is it costing her? And really, like, for her learning to embody a new standard, treating herself like the prize first. Like, this is all about repairing the relationship with herself before getting a man even enters the picture.
Very much the key is repairing the relationship.
I think when women really see that, it's like, oh, this is really about how I perceive myself. This has nothing to do with men. So it really is about getting them to see that, do you want the relationship? That's fantastic. But it starts with a relationship with you.
Yeah. 100% agree with that, because if you're not okay with yourself and you still have past trauma, you still have beliefs, you still have old behaviors, and you haven't corrected yourself or put yourself on that and know how to fix it while you're going through it, it'll always come back with a different man. It'll always come with a different woman. I mean, you might be sleeping with 5 different guys, you might be sleeping with 5 different women, always the same result. Expecting it to change, it's the same shit, basically, right? Until you figure out that thing is with yourself. The keys, like I said, you hold the keys to it all. But most people, like we said a week ago, right? 2 weeks ago, you hold the keys. You came out perfect. So in some way, you got influenced by all these other things along the way that happened. Now, how does that compare with when they start loving themselves, when you kind of like explain the difference? We went over the infatuation part. What happens when they have self-love? How much are they be able to expose to other people and all that good stuff?
I think And that's the key, because I was always dating the same guy with a different face. Like that, I got to really take a look at that. I had a mentor. We went through a list of all of my relationships and we talked about patterns of behavior.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh my God, I've been dating the same guy all along who's just had a different face. Like, it was a huge hit. Oh my God, I've been choosing this. And they're just reflecting to me how I feel about myself. That's all it is. There's nothing wrong with that. And if I didn't see myself as the prize, like, the one thing that stuck out for me is, even if I found a guy that thought I was the prize, because those men did come into my space and they were dismissed because I didn't believe it. And so I didn't believe them. And immediately I was like, I can't trust this.
Whoa, that's deep right there.
Yeah.
That's really deep.
I recognized I was doing that. If I don't choose me on the daily, then I'm going to question why he chooses me.
Because if you didn't choose you didn't believe anything he's saying, when actually he's treating you like the prize that you were, but you didn't see it within yourself.
No.
Yes. But is there a difference in how women do it now versus before?
Typically, my clients are over 35.
So they've been through the ringer already.
Yeah. Many of them are divorced or never been married, have been single for a long period of time, and some of them have children. I really believe that this goes so much deeper into how I have learned to treat myself over the years. Every relationship I was in, I made mean something about me. Like, it failed because of something that I did. That was the interpretation that I gave it. And so that affected the way I spoke to myself. It also affected the standards that I had created for myself, because then I started to allow people into the space that didn't really meet the standards because I didn't think I deserved anything else. It totally affected my boundaries. I allowed things in my relationships that I never would have allowed if I would have really been in that prize energy. But because when a woman decides that she's the prize, she stops betraying herself, right? And she's honoring her needs. She doesn't feel guilty about it. She holds the energy of being chosen first and foremost.
Now explain, okay, there is misconceptions about women being the prize. In Carrie's world, in her client list, in her business, in her coaching and stuff, it's not about you being the prize where you want to get a man to have 6 figures on a monthly basis, being 6'5", being physically ripped in the gym, and he's going to give you all the time. This is not real. You want to have the prize, meaning you're okay with yourself. Understanding what love is for yourself. Self-love, doing the things. See, she has taught me some things to portray on this show, because once a woman understands that she can have not just what you see on YouTube with the dating scene, all that bullshit and all this other crap. When she puts herself and she understands herself and has an internal, I would say, enlightening, right?
Amazing.
The kids lost the gong thing. Once you have that realization that you have everything within yourself, life changes.
Oh my God. Yeah. The learning curve for me was exactly what you're saying. Like, I thought the prize meant that I didn't want to be the prize because that meant I was arrogant. And that is not what the prize means. The prize simply means I'm rooted in my own self, like my self-respect for myself, self-trust, self-love. I'm confident in who I am. Not that I'm better than anybody.
No, exactly.
I can see myself clearly today.
And that's
prove. I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to negotiate my worth to anybody. Like, I just show up as me. Because like, the arrogance is putting other people down and needing the external validation to confirm that I'm enough. It's all about operating from the ego. It's not embodiment of who you truly are. And even getting into the relationship I have with him, I would look to him for validate me. Sometimes I would want Everyone
natural,
wants
though.
to be complimented, right? I tried to create a behavior where I wanted, hey, I wanted him to compliment me. I wanted him to, like, for example, I would go put on an outfit and I'd come out and I'd be like, okay, so how do I look? Do I look okay? Really what I was looking for there was him to have a compliment. I knew I looked okay. I was looking for a compliment.
Guys, now I know what Andrew does.
Yeah. Listen, I was really looking for a compliment. It wasn't that I didn't look good. It was that I wanted him to notice, but that doesn't work. It got to a point, I remember, he wouldn't even look at me. I'd walk in the room and be like, hey, does this look all right? And he'd be looking down and he's like, yeah, you look fine. And I'm like, he didn't even look at me because he knew what I was trying to do. He was like, Carrie, do you think you look good? That's what matters. It doesn't matter what I think. I get so pissed off at him. Like, F you, man. Like, can you just tell me I look nice? I mean, what? But I understood what he was doing.
Let's go back to this though, right? Okay. If Andrew does that to me, right? From a guy, like we're guys, the exact same thing, right? Do you feel good about yourself? It all depends on what's happening during the day, what's going on. But then it's so funny because I'm finding out that when you have love, you're going to give that person that compliment, right? Because you're in a relationship together and it's good for the whole, right? And then you understand that, okay, but in fact, back to the topic, right? If you're a guy and you're dating and you're infatuated, you're going to give all the compliments you can because you're trying to get some action. So there's the difference, right?
When you're for me, I was so addicted to that pattern of getting complimented. And he was like the first person that I dated that didn't really compliment me. And it wasn't that he didn't believe I was attractive or anything like that. He was very intentional. And what I mean by intentional was he gave them when they mattered, not when I was actively searching for that.
Looking for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you was in the industry, in the club, right? That was your daily thing. So you got your daily fix.
Of course. Yeah, of course. And so, and that's a pattern that you learn, right? Like, so it's something that I learned and I bring into my relationships. And then I realize, I'm like, oh my God, I'm creating like this surfacey, superficial, like bullshit. It's not even connection. I can't even call it connection. I think it's connection, but it's really not. Because the reality is I really don't want to be connected because I don't feel safe when you give me the surfacey bullshit. I want it because I want it to, it's like a dopamine hit. I want it. But at the same time, I don't want it because I don't trust you. And I don't trust you because you see me and you see what I'm doing and you're still giving me the bullshit.
Ladies, right?
Yeah. So I'll never create that trust with you because you're buying my bullshit and I know it's bullshit.
That's even worse.
Makes it even worse. So now I definitely don't trust you.
Don't create this whole bullshit of
I create this whole cycle to where I just like we're having like an interaction, but I don't trust you. We ain't going anywhere. And I'm going to keep this cycle going with every man that I'm in.
But see,
it's not even a relationship. What's that?
Back to the topic. That's the difference between infatuation and real love.
Absolutely.
Because what you just said, that whole cycle of crap, you didn't trust, but you created it. You was looking for compliments, but it's based on ego. You was addicted to all this behavior, but what were you sacrificing? It was just a recurring pattern. Now you change that to what you have now with Abel. How do you compare it from a female's point of view? Like, how do you, like in your head, because, females think differently. We think guys think differently. How do you compare the two? Because he doesn't understand your past. Andrew definitely doesn't understand my past. How do you kind of like put it in words, like, so that they understand it?
Oh, I've accepted that he's not going to understand. And no matter how often I explain it,
and never experienced it.
Yes, what I have recognized is I can only be responsible for me. It's not about him understanding. It really is about me understanding my patterns, me
True.
recognizing it and saying, okay, now, am I really going to, because in the beginning, I was about to create a deal breaker around him not complimenting me when really I appreciate him today because it was almost like, I feel like I was in a personal development training. He was like going to be very intentional with his compliments on purpose so that I knew the difference between that and the difference between some bullshit. And man, yeah,
Right.
that was going to be a deal breaker there. I realized what I was doing, and it really is about being open-minded to other possibilities. Like, by him not giving me a compliment when I want it, does that mean he thinks I look like shit? That I was making it mean that.
You making it in your head that way.
I'm making it mean that
Right.
in my head. It was absolutely not what he was saying at all, period. And I could keep that pattern of thought and I could continue to blow up all my relationships, or I could appreciate this man for presenting something completely different to me and offering his love and appreciation from a completely different perspective than what I was accustomed to.
Oh yeah, you would blow it up again.
Absolutely.
You,
I think I'm just like
Mhm.
99.9%.
No, absolutely. Because, but I mean, from a guy's point of view, I'll give you an example. Say I didn't know you. I didn't know your background. I didn't know everything. And we were going into a relationship. I would like to try to understand, but because that would be the love I would share for you, trying to understand where you're coming from. But from a guy's point of view, it's kind of hard sometimes because maybe there's a disconnect, or because I didn't live it, or maybe because I think differently. Do you sacrifice that of you not explaining because you said, oh, he'll never get it because he never lived it? But it's the same thing as when Angela tells me about when she has anxiety of some other people. I try to understand it as deep as I can. I just can't because I don't have that in me. But is that also for a whole nother topic, right? Because that would be like a deep dive versus, how I try to do it, but I'm not able to. But I loved everything about it, the relationship there and you and everything. But it's like, it wouldn't be the same. What would be that category though?
What do you mean that category?
How would you rank, like put that into layman's terms? Men are different, women are different, and we just go on with our lives.
I'm not going to expect him to think like me. Men and women are completely different. For him to understand me, it's for me to understand me, for me to understand
Yourself, yeah.
and look at things from a different perspective. Now, do I explain some things to him sometimes? I have found personally, if I get into the over explaining, it doesn't accomplish anything. It's not bringing him closer to me. He's getting more confused and it's taking me back to the old pattern. The more that I acknowledge the old pattern, the more I'm apt to go back to it because my body recognizes that pattern. And my body is like, here we are. That's normal for us, right? I don't want to go back there. So was it uncomfortable for me to sit in the energy of he's not going to understand and that's okay? Just like I'm not going to understand all of his life experience. Right. Like you grew up in a mega strict religious background, right?
Yeah.
Like I totally don't identify with it. I mean, I do to a degree, but not to the degree where, he went to seminary school and stuff. Like I don't, whoa, like that's a whole lot.
Yeah. That's like you went over the crossroad. You went into a different block, right?
No, I ask questions, but I'm never going to understand what that life experience is like.
Absolutely. I mean, you could never understand it. Could he explain it to differently? This is where you can have a kind of like an attachment to it, like a talking point. Absolutely. Same like when you're having, and that's the difference between, let's say, being infatuated with a person for wrong reasons and being covered with love in the household. Two different things, completely different, but they kind of mesh in between in the beginning stages, right? Yeah, it's like Guys, if you hear on TikTok, she couldn't be available because she's in her mother-in-law and they're in like the country where it's like we couldn't get her on the live feed. But guys, if you want to see the full video, if you need some help, visit Miss Carrie Pullaro at carriepullaro.com. And if you want to see the full video, the full stream, the full shows, we are putting all this on a school with courses available and everything else. And go on the YouTube channel and see the playlist. Talks with Carrie from Worthy AF. Guy, Carrie, close out the show.
Infatuation versus love. No belief is right or wrong. Love I'll feel fulfilled.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to get deeper. It's going to have more depth. And for me, love is, I stop mistaking that rush of hormones and emotions. And I stop confusing that with security. In the end, love is me feeling secure within myself. Again, this is all about the relationship you have created with yourself, period. There's no right or wrong way to do this thing. There's no right or wrong way to do life.
100%. Guys, we're going to end it right here, guys. This is Gordon Wat from Boundaries and Brotherhood. That's Carrie Pullaro. If you need any help, if your wife or you know of a sister, she can be the sisterhood too for your reach out there. All right, guys. Aloha. We'll see you guys next week. Same time. Bye.
Thanks for watching, and please head on over to the channel to watch more deep topics on Carrie's playlist. Leave us a comment. We really appreciate the love.